Alright, moving a little bit more forward in KOTOR. And then I came across this tile pattern puzzle. And I couldn't really solve it, so I had to look it up online. It almost kind of seems like you wouldn't be able to beat the game if you didn't have the internet to look up the answer. Yeah, like, did I solve this puzzle before on my own? I don't remember this part in the game at all. How many times have you beaten the game? I mean, at least like 2 or 3 times when I was in middle school. It's weird about this tile pattern. Can't seem to figure it out.
Didn't work.
I don't know if the camera's lined up well. Alright, I looked it up online and it said to walk in an H pattern, starting with the left side. Welcome back, Reverend. It has been some time since you last accessed my database. I was beginning to wonder if you had been terminated. You recognize me? Of course, the builders constructed me with a full range of sensory input systems to complement my fully aware and self-sufficient programming. I recognize your appearance from your last visit, which is stored in my databanks. However, I am detecting some significant changes in your composition since your last visit. Your neurological patterns exhibit subtle yet substantive alterations in both thought patterns and information processing. These changes have been noted and recorded in my database. Your database? I am a completely self-sufficient, autonomous, interactive database constructed by the Rakata to record and store the entire history of the species. However, since the collapse of the Infinite Empire, there have been few events worth recording, and nobody has sought to access the information stored within my database until you came along. Due to my system's ability to monitor and repair themselves, you will find the data within my archives has remained fully intact. Please choose the topic you wish information on. Tell me about the Starforge. Do you know, how can I shut off the disruptor field around the planet? Tell me about the history of the Infinite Empire. At its peak, the Infinite Empire ruled over 500 planets and was comprised of 10 billion Rakata and over 1 trillion, but the glory of the Infinite Empire was built on war and slaughter. It was inevitable it should collapse upon itself. Conflict among power-hungry warlords escalated into a full civil war. Worlds were ravaged and millions of lives were lost. Sensing the weakness of their oppressors, the slaves rebelled and overthrew their masters, and then came the plague. The plague? Its origins were unknown, perhaps the creation of an enslaved species, perhaps a mutation of a natural virus. It killed only Rakata, and it spread to every corner of the galaxy. And this video game is almost making up a different history of the Star Wars galaxy, for all we know. So it kind of almost seems like it overstepped its bounds. But then if everyone keeps on acting like they liked it, or who knows? Yep, that's Star Wars. Because it almost was sort of making it the peak or center points of Star Wars, and it's like confusing itself. Or maybe that's what the video games are supposed to do, is go farther than the movies, since they're, you know, like almost 64-bit graphics, so I'm not really too sure. Due to my system's ability to monitor and repair themselves, you will find all the data within my archives has remained fully intact. How can I shut off the disruptor field around this planet? The disruptor field was constructed as the Starforge's primary defense against every enemy attack and can only be deactivated from the upper levels of the temple. How can I get to the upper levels of the temple? My systems control the doors to the upper levels, allowing only those who are worthy of the Rakata legacy to pass. The last time you were here, Revan, I unsealed the doors for you. However, the subtle neurological changes I detected in you earlier likely caused a failure in the recognition system that would have opened the doors for you. I have updated my databases to recognize the new configurations in your mind, Revan. The doors to the upper levels will once again open for you. I'll be going now. As you wish. Please return if you find yourself in need of the information stored within my database. Yeah, that's how the whole game was like. Turn solo mode off. Haha, good one. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, well, you know, I was never really that into Star Wars, but then I was into Star Wars a little bit. But then we got too into Star Wars in high school, and that almost sort of traumatized you in a way. We were part of Star Wars Club. And this game wasn't as outdated back then, sort of a cult classic, but then it's difficult to stand by it. And at the time, it was sort of fun being inside the Star Wars universe. But now, I'm just barely getting the thing across the finish line. But that's why I was thinking maybe you need to do a second playthrough and not space it out. You know, just sort of, I mean, you know, why would you even do that? Doesn't really make sense because the stuff isn't actually fun. And when you were doing it before, you probably, like when you were doing it as a child, you felt like you were actually doing something, like you're actually getting that XP. Yeah, there's no way you think it's anything. Or yeah, all you need to do is make a better character. It's almost like reading a novel. Yeah, That's not how things seem to be like anymore, or right now. And the game sort of simulates a MMO, sort of, or some kind of RPG, and then they made sort of a sequel, or I don't know what you would call it, but you know, the Old Republic, and that was a MMORPG, which I never really played that much of. But my friends played it some, or a lot, not too sure. And then we played Elder Scrolls Online after that. And that was sort of the last thing you did, in a way. Yeah, the problem with recording video games is you have to really lower your standards a lot. Yeah, really just lower them all the way. I don't know if that helps you or makes you look cool in some way. It's probably why you're one of the only people you know doing it. Alright, looks like we're stopping there for now.